Hello, welcome back to the Barron's Game Room, guys. I'm Aaron, as always. We did our live stream, I guess, a week and a half ago now, and this was our first time ever using Twitch, and we didn't realize you had to, activate a very particular little toggle for it to save your video, and thus we lost all that footage. So we were going to post that up for everyone to view, and I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing that it didn't get saved, but we're making this little recap video for you guys to talk about, or at least go over some of the stuff we did talk about during that thing. Big thank you to everyone that joined us for that. We really appreciate you guys coming by and all that. It means a lot to us that anyone at all decided to, hang around and talk with us for a while. And we did have a lot of fun with it, and we think we might do another one towards the end of the campaign, so maybe here in another week or so. But this, guys, will refresh anyone who missed it on some of the stuff we talked about, as well as we're going to go ahead and talk about some upcoming stuff and things, new things with the project. Oh, hello, cat. First off, we want to say that we had some people giving some suggestions for our game and all that, which, we're super into. We love house ruling and stuff like that. In fact, we have a whole group on Facebook, actually. Facebook's sort of our main place we work out of. We have a group called the Barron's Game Room Community, and that's really a place to go for anyone who enjoys playing our games, wants to keep in touch with any new projects and all that, but also it's a great place for anyone playing our games to share any house rules or variants or anything else they have about the games, or even just questions and stuff. And yeah, so we definitely recommend anyone who has little homebrewing ideas for Mini Meeple Melee and all that to go there and share with the other people in the community and see what cool stuff you guys can come up with. During our stream, we had some people give a few ideas. We had a grappler hero recommended. We had someone who, we didn't think much for it, but there was a chef, which still not sure what that one's going to do. We even had, I think, somewhat of a fisherman or an angler or a trapper or something put in there as well. I don't know if we mentioned it, but I know we had another idea we've been messing around with, or we might have mentioned it, the Monster Tamer, which we thought might be useful in the upcoming expansion, which I will talk about later in this video. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas on that, please swing on over and just, chat them out, toss ideas back and forth, work stuff. We'd love to see them. I, of course, want to see this stuff thrive even beyond us, letting it out into the world. Some of the other stuff we talked about is, throughout the campaign in general, we've had a lot of people ask about shipping and all that. And we tried to make it, clear and all that, that we are trying to keep the goal on our campaigns as low as we could. And the best way for us to do that was simply to handle shipping ourselves, to not have to pay, a fulfillment person or whatever. But we have talked to fulfillment companies. We do have some things set up there. So, if the campaign does well enough, if we go far enough beyond our stretch goals and stuff, then, yeah, we would absolutely love to get a hold of them and see if we could find a way to maybe bring the shipping costs down for some of you people, ordering overseas and all that. Because we totally understand that some of those shipping costs can be pretty high, but we've... and the only way for us to get our goals as low as we had them was just to handle it ourselves. And we're sorry for the inconvenience that causes on some of you guys. And yeah, we really hope we can find a way to help you out in the end. It's just going to be, how well the campaign does and how much extra funds we have to maybe throw towards something like that. Mel, behind the camera there, did I cover most of the stuff we talked about? We also just wanted to share with you guys kind of where the original idea for this came from and all that. We buy a lot of our stuff from a website called The Game Crafter. If you haven't heard of it, I'd be kind of surprised. But yeah, they're an American-based board game supply company, I guess you could say. And we use them for most of our prototyping. Pretty much, initial concept ideas get thrown together with scraps of piece of paper and stuff at home. And then the moment we want to make something a little better to take out places, Game Crafter is where we go. And they were running some kind of competition with some publishing company where people could submit Mint 10 games to be published. Now, we were never interested in submitting to the process because we like to self-publish our own stuff. But it is what made me have the initial idea, or I just simply went, what would I do with a Mint 10? And I pretty much immediately had the idea of doing a combat arena game Sorry. I'm a big fan of HeroScape, and that was pretty much immediately the idea for it. Was like, I would probably do something like HeroScape that you play in a little mint tin. And most of the ideas came pretty much right away. The idea of like using the tin and like playing inside of it and playing over the wall. Those were pretty early on ideas. I couldn't get the idea out of my head initially, and as soon as I got off work that day, I literally bought a can of Altoids so I could go home and measure it, print off a little grid, and we could, test and see if that was really too small to be playing the game. That was all the initial test was. It was more just like, is it feasible to play something like this small? And yeah, it seemed to work fine. So we moved on from there. We started thinking of class ideas and stuff. The main 6 in the base game, most of those came pretty immediately because most of them are very, basic types that we've seen in most games. A knight, an archer, a rogue. Those were all pretty much right away. Wizard. Funny enough, I can't really tell you why, but for some reason, the alchemist was also one that popped in my head like right away. I didn't really have to do anything when I was just like, oh, what are we gonna put in the game? And like the third thing out of my mouth was like an alchemist. So even though they're probably not your standard thing, they were just an immediate idea and they've stuck around. The hardest one for us to come up with in the original was definitely the halberdier. We worked on, we struggled for a while to get to 6 because we knew we wanted 6. In a 4-player game, when you get to that last player having to select their character, it just doesn't ever seem fair when they're just stuck with one person, or even getting stuck between 2 choices is better. But we felt like having 3 options of who to be as the last player selecting just felt the most right to us. So we knew we wanted to have 6 options and all that. And it took us a bit to get the halberdier. We jumped around a lot. Funny enough, someone mentioned in the stream that they had the idea for that fisherman or someone who like threw a net, and we actually had that idea earlier. That was one of the early starts for the halberdier, was someone who would like throw a net or something at people, that we ended up not going with. But yeah, no, that was what we somehow, a guy with a spear and net eventually turned into our halberdier that we have and love now. And yeah, that's how we got rolling with it. We took it out to some more playtesting events, got some great initial reactions to it. The owner of the game store we usually run our events at really enjoyed it, so stuck it around. Immediately had a few more ideas for a couple more terrain and a few more hero types, and that's what pretty quickly started becoming Fire and Ice. So honestly, Fire and Ice has been being tested just about as long as the core game has, honestly. Some of the heroes in it are a little newer, but for the most part, the general idea of it, yeah, came up pretty quick. And we're like, well, we've already got this first one full. Let's just start making a second one. That was the one we finally thought it was okay to put in some support characters, because if it was an expansion, then we didn't want to put anything like that in the base game, because we didn't want, again, for that person who's selecting at the end there in a free-for-all game to be limited on choices, because, well, this character is not really viable as a single-player option, So support characters are really meant for team battles. So we thought we could finally put some of those in with the player count, doubling, essentially, and all that. So finally put in our cleric and our bard, pretty early ones. We, I don't know what we had an initial idea for, but I remember the blood mage was an early one as well for that. The savage, while being an early idea, we struggled with his name, just because we didn't want like half the people in that game to all start with a B, because I think originally we were going to call him a barbarian or something like that, but we didn't want a bard and a blood mage and a barbarian, and then eventually the baron came in as well, and it was going to be way too many Bs, so we had to figure something else out, and we eventually came up with savage. The elementalist as a boss was a little newer. They came in a little later, and the baron being playable came in a little as well, but yeah, and that's kind of where that one rolled up in that. And really, yeah, that was most what we'd gone to from there. I'll give you a little bit on our upcoming one, because man, we're getting close, and I'm certain with how many days I have left, I'm certain we're gonna make it to our next goal as well, and be able to unlock the Adventures expansion, which is one that we had a while back, and we almost weren't putting it into our last Kickstarter we did earlier this year. But the big demand we had for people to do solo play just made it very obvious that, okay, like, we need to make sure we get this, wrapped up then. We had the idea a good year or so ago to basically add in an expansion that turned it from a combat arena game to sort of a little dungeon crawl you can carry around. Another game I'm a big fan of is Hero Quest. I grew up playing that with my family a lot and really loved it. And yeah, of course, whenever this was working, I immediately thought, how in the world could I make me a tiny little Hero Quest I could carry around with me? And there was the starting ideas to that. And again, when people were begging for a single player mode, it was like, well, luckily we already kind of have one we've messed around with. To give you guys a little more information about that one, with it coming out soon, basically, here, I have a prototype tin over here for it. Haven't got the logo printed up on it, but basically it's going to be in a bit taller tin probably, because it's just full of these little wooden cubes and all that will have little monster faces printed on it, because that's what's going on. This game adds in a ton of various size monster cubes that will have various attacks to them and stats and stuff. And yeah, we have full automation rules on how to spawn up your dungeon, on how to spawn in these monsters and all that. And generally, you and your friends, your partners, or just you on your own, will run through a quick little dungeon, fighting off monsters and stuff, usually ending with fighting one of our boss cubes, the bigger ones here, that are pretty hard to fight. And along the way, you'll end up collecting what we call GP, or glory points, every time you manage to kill a monster or find some treasure. We say treasure, but really it's just a bunch of potions. We have a little search action you can do, and one of the possibilities, other than running into more monsters or traps or just nothing at all, is you can find some little potions that you could take to give you a boost. They can heal you up, make you move faster, attack better, rerolls and stuff like that. But if you don't use it, then if you kept it to the end of the game, then there were some points there too. So it's really, you can do a full cooperative, but we generally design it as semi-cooperative, where yeah, at the end of the game, even though you're working together to go through it, only one of you gets to be like the true hero of it all, the one who collected the most glory of defeating the most monsters and such like that. Cooperative though, in that it's pretty tough, and whenever you die, you're going to end up dropping half of the stuff you've carried, because it's not exactly a cool story at the tavern whenever you're like, I slayed 7 goblins and a dragon! Yeah, you died twice! We don't talk about that. It's a little cut to the ego there. So that's the idea for it all. But base idea or not, it's something completely playable as full cooperative. You can just set yourself a harder challenge and try and get through on a limited number of lives and respawns. You can do the same thing for solo play. And you could also just try and survive, increasingly harder waves and hordes of monsters and all that. See how many you can go through and set a high score that way as well. I also need to mention, though, for all of you people who love solo, we had an epiphany recently. Originally, we weren't able to put these automation rules into the base game because the fact that normal heroes and bosses have multiple skills was an issue. They're like, well, which skill do you use the automation rules for? If you have to pick which skill, then you're kind of just controlling the character on your own. And it seems really silly that it took us this long to think of it, but the other day, when talking to another one of our backers here, it just clicked all of a sudden. We're like, oh, we'll just put in something like a coin flip or a die roll that determines which skill the automated boss or hero is using this turn, and then you just use the standard automation rules from there. And again, it seems so silly that it took us so long to think of that, but we did, and so now it's there. So for people who like solo play, there's going to be solo options in all the games now, in the base game and the Fire and Ice game and all that. There will be in the rulebook. And really what the Adventures expansion is adding is just giving you a new way to play with all the monster cubes and all that. Which, these don't have any printed on there, but the ones in the factory will have little monster faces and stuff printed on there for each different type and all that. Not just looking at a big rainbow of blank blocks. Yeah, and I think that kind of covers what's going on. Oh, no. Of course not. Right. I also want to bring up again, if you've been listening to our updates, we were also given another great idea from a backer. Thank you guys for this. Of including some little mini games in the tin, which seemed like a fantastic little idea. We are big fans of, getting a little more game for your buck, of course. And it's something that doesn't really take much extra from us. I mean, just takes tossing in another card or two into the tin, which isn't going to change much of anything. But some of the ideas that we've already tossed around are like a little dexterity game where you are throwing your meeples into a tin at like a little target or something like that, and keeping track of points that way. They was talks of a obstacle course one, which personally I haven't been able to fully work out how that one would work beyond the idea. But hey, really, we got time. They're supposed to be really simple and all that. I want to hear your guys' ideas. So please, if you guys have any little ideas of little mini games we could squeeze in there, let us know. We've still got enough time to get it all worked out and tossed in. We would love to add whatever you guys want to play into the tin. So give us your ideas on it, all right? With important news for those of you who are wanting to go ahead and play the game now. Originally, we posted the print and plays onto our shop. We have now moved that over to our website. If you go to our website, go to games, and specifically go to Mini Meeple Melee, you'll be able to find download links for the original print and play and print and play stuff for Fire and Ice. So if you're wanting to try the games out, head on over there and give them a download, all right? Anyone who's already gotten yours previously, again, just go to the website now, and it's there for download. Anyone new coming in, I've said it. Yeah, Mel, did it sound like I kind of hit stuff there? Is there something that we missed? I know we kind of mentioned the list earlier.
I think that's about it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, again, sorry we made that mistake on Twitch. Yeah, sorry we had to do this little re-recording. But thank you again to everyone who did join us for that live stream. Thank you so much for anyone watching this video. Thank all of you backers so much for your support so far. We are so appreciative of it, really. It means so much to us. We're not even going to pretend like at the start of this we were confident about getting all 3 of these games out, but now it's seeming like we're certainly going to, and that's just amazing to us. It's a big deal. This is our first time doing working with an actual factory and all that, and it's so great to see how many people have come to support us and all that. And we really hope you guys love the game as much as we do. We really hope you guys will stick around with us on our future projects and all that. We've already got several games lined up that we are ready to put out. And basically, as soon as this one does well, we'll get the next ones out as well. So we really hope you guys will continue on us with this journey. We appreciate everything you've done for us so far. And yeah, we hope to, keep up a good relationship with you guys. Seriously, we hope you guys really love the games like we do. Again, we are talking about doing another live stream, so if you guys are interested in joining us for the next one, be sure to stick around and look at the updates. We'll of course let you guys know exactly when we want to do that. Thank you all so much. Thanks for swinging by. If you want to know where else to find us, guys, remember we're on all the social medias: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, even TikTok. I think you might be watching this on YouTube even, so obviously, there. So yeah, swing on by. Oh, and as one of our backers kind of mentioned, we'd really appreciate it if you guys, especially the ones downloading the print and plays, would head over to our BGG, our Board Game Geek, and give it a rating or whatever. That'd be super appreciative, guys. And that's gonna cover it all, guys. We'll see you around. Thank you all so much. Bye.
Bye.